Hello and welcome along to Adobe After Effects with your host Robert Smith. In this video we're going to look at the magic of using the graph editor to help our animation. So let's get stuck in. Let's see what I've got. I've basically got a two-layered Photoshop file. If I turn the layer off, I've got an eye like that, and if I turn it back on, turn this one off, the bottom one, now I've just got a head. So basically what I'm going to do is put some typography inside that eye just by turning it on. There's some type we're going to put in there, and there's a bit more. So I'll just turn both those layers off. Let's get to animating. Now here's a design decision. I'm looking at this eye thinking what a fabulous image it is, and thank you very much Google Images. I'm just using this as an example. There is no commercial value to what I'm doing here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want to darken this eye because really I can't really read the text, it's illegible. So if I hold the control key down and click down here and go to new solid like this. Now I want a grey solid, a fairly mid-grey if you like. That'll do. And OK that. Now it's the top layer, so I'm just going to grab this and drag it down on top of the eye. Not looking very attractive, is it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and select multiply. And what that does, it darkens the eye right across. So I've got a nice platform for my typography. If I now turn the type on, the type jumps off the page, which is what we want, or jumps off the video. Great, and I've got some more as well. Now let's get stuck into animating. I'm going to animate the this one here, short films, big stories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move along a little bit. Now one of the tricks I've learned of using this graph editor, if you use the first frame, it gets a bit hard to use. So I'm just going to move along just a little bit to about here. That's where I want my animation to start. And I'm going to select that layer and press P for position, put a keyframe in, and put it where I want it to start, which will be down here. Skillfully hidden by the magnificent two-layered Photoshop file. And then I'm going to go to about here. And I'll use the second number to bring it up. Like that, I could just drag it up if I like. So let's have a look at that bit of animation. That's very basic animation, just moving a property like that. Great. Let's just bring our end of comp thing. If I forget what that's called, but I'll just press the letter N to bring it to here. And look at that, we've got a very basic constant speed animation, if you like. Now what we could do is select these two keyframes and go up under Animation Keyframe Assistant. I have to select them first, it won't let me. Like that. Keyframe Assistant. And I've got these options here, Easy Ease in, and Easy Ease out. Now they're very, very basic easing. One slows it down, one speeds it up, etc. But if you want maximum control over that happens, if you want a bit of snap in your animation, you need to use something called the graph editor. So I'm going to select those again, go over here, click on this thing called the graph editor. And as you can see, we get this little, it's a very complicated looking thing. It's easy to stay away from the graph editor, but once you get a basic understanding of it, it's not that hard. What I'm going to do is all these things down at the bottom, don't worry about it. What I'm looking at now is something called the speed. So if I click down here, make sure I'm editing the speed graph, not the value graph, like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this little yellow handle and drag it all the way down. Actually, I won't do that. I'll try that again. Okay, as you can see, we get this curve happening here. I'll do the same for this. I'll drag this all the way down as well, like that. And that's the equivalent of easy ease. Now, in other words, starts off really quickly, slows down. Let's have a look at that. Not much difference really. Not much. You could actually do that by using the menu. But where it gets a bit fancy is you can now grab this little yellow thing here and just drag this to the left like that. And now you notice you get a very jagged or erratic curve. Let's have a look at that. So what this is saying, it's going to go really fast, and then it's going to slow down as it comes in. See, that gives you a lovely little smooth transition, which I think is pretty good. Now we could do this too. We could grab this side and drag this to the left too, so they join. And what we're going to get here is going to be fairly constant. Then there's a big jump in the middle. So let's have a look at that. That's really quick. That's bringing it on very dramatically. Now, I would suggest that you watch many more videos on this. We can go in, eventually a curve can get really, really silly. You can play around with it and get all sorts of weird results. I'll just Apple Z that. Back to that. I might Apple Z back to this curve. I quite like that one. How it slows down like that. Very nice indeed. Okay, now I'm going to close that graph editor and you'll see ease has been applied. Now I want to get rid of that after a while, so I'll move along a little bit to about here. And I'll click over here to put a keyframe so just nothing happens. Then I'll move to about here and I'll move it off like that. I'll just use the arrows to move it off. And on it comes and away it goes. That's a bit unexciting going off like that. So I just might select these last keyframes, hold the graph editor down, do the same thing I did before. Just grab this and drag it across. I'm just dragging that little Bezier handle like that, and let's watch that. On it comes, and dramatically, really quickly goes away. Always drag that there like that. Let's have a look at that. It's a matter of just playing around with these curves. They look very technical, and they're a bit scary at first, but that's nice. A nice little bit of animation. And that's a nice way of just adding that little bit of finesse to your animation, especially if you want things to snap around the stage like that. What a beautiful thing that is. Okay, let's do the same thing again. I'm going to turn that layer off. Now I'm finished with that. And I'll just move along a little bit and lengthen my timeline. Come back here so we can see what's going on. Zoom back out a little bit. Okay, so that's the end of that. What we want to happen at this point here is that goes away. We want this second line to come in, which is this one here. A truly global celebration of short film. And this time we're going to use the scale. So if I press S for scale like that, put a keyframe there. I'm going to click here and type in 0. So it just goes away. Perhaps if I was on the right layer, that might help. This one here, S for scale. I'll close that up. And I'll put a keyframe here. And there I'll just type in 0. Like that. Move along a little bit to about here. And type in 100 there. Okay, so we get this. As you can see, it's coming at me at a constant speed. So let's just play around with our graph here. As you can see, we've got 2 points here. We've got the start point and the end point. So I'm just going to drag that down a little bit. Hang on, I'll just move that up. Just drag that, okay, by the handle. So we get that, and I'll just drag this by the handle as well. And what I want it to come to me really, really quickly. So what I'll do is I'll just grab this and drag that to the left, like that, and let's watch that. That's great. That's really good. It's coming at me with a lovely little bit of ease attached to it. Let's go back to here like this. Let's turn the other layer back on. Let's watch what we've done so far. Up it comes. Very nice. Okay, it goes away nicely. Comes at me with a little bit of ease. Very nice indeed. So as you can see, this graph editor is all about finessing your keyframes. And it is the subject of a lot more than we're doing right here now. I would suggest that you go and search the internet. There's lots and lots of instructional videos on how to use the graph editor. But I find it's a little bit clunky, but sometimes you come up with the most amazing ease. So, okay, thanks for watching.